Howdy, yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I am Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And today we're taking on the Soviets.
Do these guys ever smile?
So who do you play for?
Because tonight we are the greatest hockey team in the world.
And today we're bringing you...
Miracle.
This is a 2004 film about the 1980 Olympic hockey team. For those that don't know, I know you're like, oh, it's Christmas time, Miracle on 34th Street. No, talking about hockey.
Yes, talking about hockey. And people have already started asking, is Miracle a Christmas movie? No. But it's about snow, and it's got Kurt Russell, who plays Santa Claus in a 2018 Christmas movie that I cannot remember the name of.
It's like the Christmas Chronicles or something.
What more? Yeah, that's exactly it. What more could you want?
And, Ethan, it's about beating Soviets at hockey.
Exactly. What is more Christmas?
That's a Christmas miracle.
Jesus, who was born on Christmas Day, would have wanted us to beat the Soviets.
I think he did. I think that's why we did
in a
win.
Semifinal game.
In a semifinal game. But that was the game that mattered.
Right, that was the game that mattered. But it's like, there's always a little bit of like, I'm surprised they didn't change it for the movie, to tell you the truth.
Just to make it the final?
Yeah.
Well, the reason... So real quick. The movie was released on February 6, 2004, 5,422 days ago. On a $28 million budget, it made that and some back at $64.5 million. I got an 80% audience or critic rating, 90% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes. This was back in the era when you saw more of this discrepancy between audience and critics, where like an audience score would always be better than a critic score. But lately, I feel like that's not always the case.
Lately, I've been thinking, I want you to be happier. Yeah, that song slaps.
Is that Ed Sheeran?
No, that's Marshmello.
I don't know who that is.
He's the guy that wears the marshmallow head.
I get that, but he was a big deal this year, and I like completely missed that.
Well, it's him and the guy from Bastille doing a song, and it slaps.
Gotcha. Well, it got a 68 on Metacritic, which is a decent score. Same as last week. And what did we talk about last week?
Jurassic Park. One of the all-time classics.
All-time classic. I love that movie. Ethan, do you have a professional negative review of this film?
I do have a professional negative review of this film. Stephanie Zacharek, Stephanie of Salon.com says, big on slogans, low on personality. She's wrong.
I'm reading a lot of these reviews. There's a positive one here, or it's listed positive, but it's a 2 out of 4. A pretty negative review if you ask me. It says, if you can tolerate all this phony uplift, you'll also get a pretty interesting story about a shrewd Minnesota college coach named Herb Brooks. That sounds like a negative review to me. That comes from Jonathan Rosenbaum of the Chicago Reader. Now, Richard Roper over at Ebert and Roper says, thumbs up for this uplifting and inspirational movie about one of the great upsets in sports history. Real quick snippet there. I feel like a lot of times a good film review has a thematic tie-in, you know what I'm saying?
Sorry, I'm chewing.
Like where it would be like, this movie more entertaining than watching a Zamboni clean an ice rink.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That is tradipically. That's a new combination word that we just made up, patented here on Bacon and Eggs. It's a combination of traditionally and typically. It's tradipically.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks.
You heard it here first. It's going to be big in 2019.
You know what's going to be big in 2019?
What?
Bacon and Eggs, a movie lovers podcast, new episodes every Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts, and now on Spotify.
Yeah, it is. Dab, dab, dab.
Did you just audibly dab?
Yeah.
Gotta hit him with that voice dab.
I did. I was actually, just to talk, I don't do a lot of these little behind-the-scenes stories, but earlier this week, I was at work, and my manager discovered that I do the podcast. Well, he's the kind of guy that was like, oh, you do a podcast? He literally busts it out right in front of me, and he starts listening to the episode with... I know. Ethan is the little fun fact about Ethan. If you bust out a video or an audio recording for Ethan to listen to right then and there, he will just get visibly upset.
I just won't do it. I straight up won't.
And walk away from the conversation.
Yeah, fact. If you're like, hey, this is really funny video, and I'm like, oh, cool, send it to me. And like, nah. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull my phone out and I'm gonna open the video in front of you, and I'm gonna hand you my phone, and I'm gonna stand there and stare at you, expecting you to laugh at this thing.
Watch you watch it.
And you know what the problem is with this? Most of the time, like, the videos that I see on the internet are pretty funny, but they're not like, I'm gonna sit there going, ha, that was hysterical. I'm gonna be like,
that's pretty good thing.
And my eyes get real squinty, and I'm just like, yeah, that. But like, that's not satisfying to the person watching me watch this video. They're gonna sit there and be like, well, he didn't think it was that funny. Maybe I should never show him a video again. Maybe we should stop being friends. We don't have the same sense of humor at all. And I'm just like, no, that's not it. You're just expecting too much of me out of this moment. I hate these moments. So do you have a toothpaste and orange juice for the week?
I don't know that I do. I actually have something positive I wanted to talk about.
Finish your story, though.
So I'm at work, and I work in not like a super professional, like hoity-toity environment, but enough so that our show sounds extremely silly when played in front of these people. And he pulled up the Toy Story 3 episode, which starts with like some ridiculous comment from Seamus, like shouting into a microphone. Seamus Gorman, he's a YouTuber. He guests on our show pretty regularly. And then it like went into the intro, and our intro's like, boo, ba, or whatever it is. And then us talking like really silly. Here's the thing. I genuinely believe we make an excellent podcast, but when it's played like in that context right in front of me, I'm like, oh my God, this is the most embarrassing moment of my entire life. And that is what happened to me this week. But anyway, Ethan,
the same thing is going to happen though with most podcasts. Like if you're like, oh, by the way, I'm Hank Green and I do Dear Hank and John.
Right.
And here's like, here's the slide whistle and like, hello and welcome back to Dear Hank and John, a comedy podcast about death.
Right, like any respectable human being would be like, what on earth is happening right now?
You can't explain any of these podcasts to people. Like I'm sure a business podcast, like if you listen to, I don't listen to business podcasts.
Oh gosh, what was it? I have to come up with the name of it now because it's going to be an interesting little tidbit here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Oh god,
like any of the
this is a business podcast
podcasts
I used to listen to. Was the Dealer Playbook when I was a car dealer. It
Yeah.
was not very useful at all because it was all about how to haggle and stuff. And I worked at a no haggle dealership, but they always told us to listen to it, so I did.
But you think about like ear biscuits. People are like, first of all, that name's gross. And it's just
right.
like, doom, 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 doom. Welcome back to Ear Biscuits. You and I used to listen to Laces Out. The first season of Laces Out just started with Ozzy Osbourne yelling, all aboard!
And then there was a bunch of like really poorly cut together audio clips.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Well, like over the
You
18
play
theme
to
song.
win the game.
Herm Edwards. I met Herm Edwards in the Norfolk airport.
Did you?
I did. That was a cool
How's Mr.
moment.
Edwards?
It was like 6:30 in the morning. He's walking by, and one of my coworkers was like, I think that's Herm Edwards. And this dude is like one of those no shame people whatsoever. Like, you could like whip this dude's pants down in public, and he'd just be like, yep.
Those are my pants.
So he was just like, hey, Herm! Anyway, I have significantly derailed this train. And I apologize for that. I don't apologize for that. This is what you listen for.
This is what you listen for.
And if you don't listen for this, we'll get to the movie in a minute. Just there's a little button at the bottom of your podcatcher where you can just like 15 seconds forward.
We'll get there. I actually do want to talk about the movie. Ethan, I don't know that I'd ever watched this movie beginning to end. And if I had, it has been over 10 years. It has been over 10 years. I will say I was utterly shocked. And I want to talk briefly not about the film, but about the experience of watching the film. Now, listener, you probably don't know this, but I've been going through a lot of stressful things in my life. Not negative stress, but just like with the holiday season and some things at work and with the podcast, there's just been a lot of stress going on. And sitting down to watch the film, I said, you know what? I'm just going to set my phone. I'm going to turn it off, set it to the side. Got my dog here. My wife was sitting with me. My other dog was sitting with me. We were just sitting there in the dark in my house, watching movies, no phones, no nothing. I literally, 10 minutes into the movie, nothing to do with the content on screen, started like openly weeping because it was just such a joyous moment for me to be just like sitting there and experiencing it and just like slowing down for a minute. And that was a really cool experience. And it reminded me why I love the film genre of, for us just to be able to sit down and I get this more with film than I do TV show is there's just a contained narrative, especially in a good film that's, well acted, high budget, etc. And that's why we come back to this.
See, I haven't seen this movie in probably since like freshman year of college, I would say. I went on a sports movie kick then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because iTunes, one day I opened iTunes and it was like, based on the music we've been listening to recently, we think you'd enjoy Coach Carter.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I would enjoy Coach Carter. I haven't seen that movie in forever. And then like an hour and a half later, I'm just sitting there like, Rich what? Richmond. And so then I was like, man, I got to bust out every sports movie I own. So I watched this. I watched like Remember the Titans 6 times. Like just every, The Natural, a lot of baseball, Major League, The Rookie, the Bull Durham, every baseball movie I could find, every football movie I could find except Rudy, because Rudy sucks.
Ooh, my wife had to watch Rudy at her company's training because that is the founding values of their company is like based on Rudy.
Ouch, that sucks. That movie is so bad.
You don't like Rudy?
No, I cannot take, I had the same problem in Lord of the Rings. I cannot take Sean Astin seriously.
Really?
For anything in the world. Y'all know this. I don't really like the Goonies.
No, I'm not a Goonies guy at all.
And the Rudy is just like the Goonies, but football.
Is it like Rudy Never Says Die?
No, but he's like bad at football, and he's at Notre Dame being bad at football, and then they let him play because he's like the emotional hero of the team.
Is that what? I don't think I've ever seen Rudy.
We had to watch Rudy, like, I don't remember what her name was, but my sophomore year of high school world history teacher, the one that wasn't Cozart.
Ooh, it was Mr. Pitts.
Yeah, there was
the
a
one
chick.
I had. There was the girl across the hall.
I don't remember her name. She's like the only high school teacher's name I don't remember. But she was, we had to watch Rudy in her class. I don't remember why, but we did. And I just,
I'm sure it was just because she did not have a lesson plan and was like, Rudy's student friendly.
yeah, and I just didn't dig it. It's not my favorite football movie by any means.
That's interesting. So you went to all
It's
the baseball
not even
movies.
my top 4 football movies.
Where does it rank against Radio?
It's below Radio.
Below Radio. Okay.
It's below Radio. It's below Friday Night Lights. It's below Invincible. It's below Remember the Titans. It's probably below Gridiron Gang.
What's the Adam Sandler one? Longest Yard. What about Longest
It's
Yard?
below The Longest Yard. Now, however, people who say, I'm going to go on a little tangent here real quick. 2 seconds. Bear with me. People who say that Happy Gilmore is the best golf movie of all time are incorrect.
Never seen Caddyshack.
Happy Gilmore is not even objectively in the top 3 golf movies of all time.
What would you say? I would say Caddyshack is number 1, period.
I would say, Caddyshack's in there. It's just like, there's some serious movies, some kind of funny serious movies, and then there's some funny movies. Happy Gilmore is like a straight funny movie, and it's not as good as Caddyshack, therefore, it'll never take the top spot.
Yeah, Caddyshack is like, you can't make a golf movie better than Caddyshack.
You can't make a golf comedy better than Caddyshack.
Yeah, no.
Because like The Legend of Bagger Vance is like a miracle type movie about golf.
No, what I think is interesting is you were talking about all the sports movies you watched. Now, freshman year, you got into sports movies. We got into Pokemon movies.
We did do that.
Don't forget this phase in our life.
I went through a lot of phases freshman year of college, and sophomore year of college, and junior year and senior year.
We went through a couple foundational phases, and then we went into, I think, what was the long-term phase for the rest of our college career. And then that sort of phased out when we graduated.
What are those phases?
So freshman year, as human beings, style, projection to other people. Freshman year, we got into like a skater thing. We were wearing like skinny jeans and like real thin beanies and like tight fit t-shirts made of like the softest cotton in the world. Do you remember this?
Minus the beanies, that sounds pretty much like how I dress now. The skater days freshman year me and is in a band me are not all that different.
And then sophomore year, we sort of kicked into our preppy phase, which is what took the bulk of our lives.
That
Money.
peaked junior year. Rappahannock
Junior
year.
Yeah.
By the time we lived in Port, I lived off campus and I was a senior and I could not care less.
It got to a point where like getting dressed took time, driving took time, walking took time.
Right. It was like you got to get dressed and then you got to drive to campus, which takes 15 minutes, and then you got to walk to class from the parking garage, which takes another 20 minutes.
Right.
And it's like, I just can't get up that early. I have class at noon. You're expecting me to get up before 11?
Right. But I would say, yeah. So there was the skater thing, and then it was like sort of dress ourselves in a preppy way for a little while. And then at some point, not overnight, but over the course of like 3 weeks, we went from like owning 1 or 2 sort of preppy clothes to like owning a wardrobe that could have had its own Instagram page.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like just the preppiest, most insane outfits. I remember I would order the Vineyard Vines catalogs, and I would just read the catalog.
Yeah.
Like just like look at the styles and like read the descriptions of items. There was no like articles or anything in it. I was just so fascinated.
I ordered a Vineyard Vines bow tie by calling the store in Leesburg that had the exclusive Cherry Blossom Festival bow ties and was like, hey, can I give you a credit card number and you mail me one of these? Because I'm never going to Leesburg ever.
Have you been to Leesburg since then?
No. I think I've been to Leesburg once.
Anyway, the fact of the matter is you got into baseball movies freshman year. I have always been into running movies. It's like Without Limits, Prefontaine, the what's the Jesse Owens one called?
I don't know. There's Chariot of Fire.
Chariots of Fire.
I've never watched many of those. I've watched Chariots of Fire because Larocco made us watch that.
He made us watch the Jesse Owens movie, too.
Oh, no, he made us watch the Jesse Owens movie. It was like McGuire that made us watch.
Yeah, Chariots of Fire.
Chariots of Fire. And Radio.
I don't know if I had ever seen Miracle, just to get back to it. Now, quick
I
overview of
owned
movie.
the DVD. I still own the DVD. It's on Netflix, so I watched it there. But like, I could find the DVD in the next 30 seconds.
I want to ask you a question about binary review, and here's how I want you to answer it, because I will understand either answer, but you'll need to defend it.
Okay.
If you were to tell, because a lot of our listeners are not sports people.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to tell somebody who is a sports person, not a sports person, there are, we'll say 5 essential sports movies you need to watch just because you're a film fan, and these will increase your appreciation for film and give you a good picture of the genre. This movie is a 1 if it makes it onto that list. And I'm talking like specifically sports movies. So I think you could make an argument for like Caddyshack, Talladega Nights to be comedies.
Yeah, I mean, you can like Caddyshack and Talladega Nights. Like, I don't care about NASCAR. I've never cared about NASCAR.
Right.
Talladega Nights is still one of the funniest movies made. Right, like I care more about hockey because I watch Miracle.
Right. Like
I would say that this is one of those essential, because this has the added factor that the other ones don't, of like the absence of the dream team, that it's like blue collar people playing for America. I think if you're an American, it's a 1.
Okay.
If you're not an American, like, I get it.
Are there any other sports movies that come to, could you list a 5 essential sports films off the bat, like off the cuff, that a movie lover needs to see just to understand the genre, or just
understand
just
sports
because
movies,
understand sports movies, or just to get a better idea to see something other than standard princess films or major blockbusters? Yeah,
I would say this is one of them. I just watched Remember the Titans today. Remember the Titans is Miracle, but better. Like, it's the same movie. It pulls harder at the heartstrings.
Well, so the difference between Remember the Titans and Miracle is the historical accuracy. Right? Because historically, T.C. Williams, the year of the desegregation, was just plain unstoppable.
Right. As far as scores go, they added some drama to it, but like the historical accuracy is there.
Right. But like in that final game, they went up 14-0 in the first 2 minutes, and then it was never close.
Right. And like T.C. Williams never had lights.
Right.
They played on like Saturday afternoon.
Right.
But and this one's got more of the historically accurate factor. The one thing I did read about this movie is that like Herb Brooks was portrayed as being too nice.
In the movie? I believe that.
Yeah, they were like, Herb Brooks didn't come up with nicknames for the players. He wasn't coming to like Christmas parties.
This dude was brutal.
Yeah. One of the players was like, I respected him. I never liked him.
Yeah.
This one, Remember the Titans, I would say you gotta watch.
There's one that I'm surprised you haven't mentioned, and I think if you only get 2 football films, The Blindside.
Blindside's not a football movie.
That's a football movie.
No, The Blindside's not a football movie. The Blindside is like...
It's about a guy that's still in the league.
Yeah, but he's terrible.
He's not as good as he was.
Michael Orr, he was never good in the NFL, ever.
He won a Super Bowl.
Okay.
Joe Flacco.
So? He kept getting run over.
Won a Super Bowl.
So did Tyrod Taylor.
With Joe Flacco.
I think he might have won a Super Bowl in New York as well. But anyway, The Blindside's not a football movie.
Okay.
I wouldn't say you could almost take football out of The Blindside and still have a movie.
A weird title.
I agree, but like it's about like a rich white family that adopts like a black dude from the ghetto,
right,
and like gentrifies him,
right.
If you're gonna give me another football movie, it's Friday Night Lights.
Are there any baseball movies that make the list for you?
Yeah, Field of Dreams. Well, not necessarily Field of Dreams. You got to watch one of, and you could take this either baseball or golf. You got to watch one of the Kevin Costner movies.
Okay.
So like he did Field of Dreams. He did Bull Durham, which is about like minor league baseball, like the Carolina League, and he did Tin Cup, which is about golf. And you just have to watch one of those.
You have to watch Without Limits.
I've never seen it.
It's a running movie, and it is a running movie. Like a method actor becomes Olympic quality running movie.
Breaking Away. The cycling movie.
Cycling movie?
Yeah, Breaking Away.
There's no cycling movies.
There's
Everybody
Breaking Away.
cheats in that sport.
What?
Did you hear the sad news?
Paul Sherwin died.
Oh my god.
I actually cried.
Oh my god. Am I just gonna have to watch Tour de France reruns?
I guess. God, maybe they can get John Carlin to do it.
Yeah, golly.
I don't know what's I'm scared to watch the Tour de France this year.
I don't even want to be a part of it.
Anyway, yeah, Breaking Away, 1979, cycling movie. True underdog story.
Without Limits. All right, so let's get into Miracle.
Yes, let's.
What do you right off the cuff, this is an awesome movie.
Yeah, it's an awesome movie. For sure. It really gives you an idea of what the Cold War was like.
It does. Because
we were born shortly after the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Yes.
Very shortly after.
Right.
And it's just, we were born in a world without the Soviets. And so you can't, everybody's parents talk about it. Everybody's parents know about it because everybody our age, because they lived through it. And like, you know, my mom walked in while we were watching the movie last night. She's just like, I saw this game live. And I was just like, that's wild.
There's
but
the same audio on the movie.
for one line.
Oh, is it just the one line?
It's just the one line, yeah. Do you believe in miracles?
I guess Al Michaels was young enough then that he's still young now.
Well, he's not young now.
Well, he's not young, but
like Al Michaels has had like a stroke since last football season. If you have not been paying attention this year,
I did not know.
I don't think we're talking about it, but like Al Michaels has got a definite something going on there.
Oh, that's sad.
But I try to watch as little Al Michaels as possible, and it's not because of Al Michaels. It's because his partner's Chris Collinsworth, who I hate more than any sports commentator alive.
Oh, I do not like Chris Collinsworth.
Now,
That's the
here's
truth.
a guy who loves to have the football in his hands.
Here's the truth about Al Michaels. Do you know his only non-himself acting credit?
I do not.
He was Sparky Michaels in Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco, which is just
He's like a dog?
Al Michaels. Yeah.
I didn't know there was a Homeward Bound too.
Are you not a big Homeward Bound guy?
I am. I love that movie. I just didn't know there was a sequel.
Got a 53%, which honestly, better than I expected.
Yeah, seriously. How did the Air Bud movies score?
That's a good question. Original Air Bud played what sport?
Basketball.
Yes.
Yeah, because Air Jordan, Jumpman.
45%.
I like the original.
The original.
Yeah,
Let's
that
see
movie
if
was
any of them-
bad.
Let's see if any of the others did any better. View all.
Those are movies you could make more convincingly now.
Here's the sad thing about
None of
Air
these
Bud,
have-
Ethan.
None of these have consensus.
None of them have scores. Which is like mind-blowing to me, because to me they were such a big part of my childhood.
Right.
It was
Like I've seen at least the first.
I've seen
the first three. At least.
yeah, I've seen. I don't know if I've seen Golden Receiver.
I've definitely seen I've definitely seen Air Bud. I've definitely seen Air Bud 2, Golden Receiver, and I've definitely
seen
seen Air
World
Bud
Pup.
4, Seventh Inning Fetch.
I've definitely seen World Pup.
I don't know
because
if
that
I've
was
seen
the
World
same
Pup.
year. They were in the Women's World Cup.
They were the same year. 3 and 4 were the same year.
I don't think they went to theaters, Ethan.
No, the first one did.
Did it
I'm
really?
pretty sure. Anyway, Air Bud played basketball. Those are movies you can make a lot more convincingly now with like modern effects.
I don't know. I think it'd be tough to make a golden retriever, like a CG golden retriever.
Yeah, they would
That'd
try.
be
That's the thing is they would try too hard with it. They wouldn't just let an actual dog do it and like help him with the CG. Because
Right.
like in the original Air Bud movies, it was clearly like a golden retriever on like a scissor lift that was just green screened out. All right,
Those are
so-
non-essential sports movies.
No, you didn't. All of those are. Anyway, so this is a 1. Do you agree?
I would agree. This
I would
is
agree.
A 1.
I think,
This is
yeah,
a-
Disney does a pretty good job with these sports movies. Because they made this, they made Remember the Titans.
Yes.
And it's like, I want to, if we're talking about football movies, though, Friday Night Lights is important, but I don't want to say why it's important.
I don't know why it's important, but I know Remember the Titans. Important.
Because they lose.
Oh.
I'm not going to, I don't want to ruin the ending, but, like, they lose. Like, they
Does
get to
Rudy
the
lose?
Yeah, Rudy sucks.
He gets in, and like it doesn't matter that he plays.
Right. But this is like an emotional movie, and like they make it to the last, Hail Mary play to win the Texas State Championship. And the dude like drops the pass and they lose.
Well, that's sad.
But it makes sense.
Right.
Anyway, this movie is just like, my heart is so warm when I watch this movie. Because
think
there's
this
so
movie-
much stress and so much payoff.
There's so much payoff. Like I was literally watching that last game, and I was like standing up and cheering, and like I was so excited. I was ready to buy season tickets for the Roanoke Rail-Yard Dogs, which is the greatest hockey team in all the valley.
In all the valley.
And even then, I don't even know if that's true.
I mean, Tech plays at Civic Center.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Not anymore.
They don't?
Mm-mm. They play at some rinky-dink arena now.
Huh, that's weird. I used to go to those games in high school. They were fun. They were like $5.
Yep, they were. And I bet the Civic Center was like, I don't want to do $5 admission anymore.
Yeah, like it costs more than that to run the Zamboni.
Right.
There's 11 people here.
Right, but the Zamboni is a cool thing.
Oh, yeah. When I was a kid and we had the Express, I was always fascinated with the Zamboni. And to this day, I'm still fascinated with the Zamboni.
I watch it the whole time it's out there.
The whole time. I'm just like, look what it's doing. Because it's like melting the ice and then making new ice.
Yeah. I don't have a clue if it like what it does, capital trademark.
It turns unsmooth ice into smooth ice.
I think I get that.
But I don't know how. Like, it just blows my mind that things can freeze that fast. I say as though I didn't spray windshield washer fluid onto my window the other day and it just froze completely.
I know, my truck, I've never had to replace the windshield wiper fluid, and it's from Florida. Frozen.
Yeah, because I'm used to always having the, this stuff melts ice in it.
Right.
but the thing in the Mazda is so small, the like tank, that it runs out all the time. So they like refilled it last time I got my oil changed, and they refilled it with just like normal stuff. And I had a sheet of ice on my windshield, and I went to go like spray it because I'm used to the stuff that melts the ice, and it just froze more ice onto the windshield. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I haven't had to deal with this for 10 years.
Did you just scrape it off?
I didn't know where a scraper was. It was like October or November or whatever. I hadn't found a scraper yet.
I'm sorry you had to deal with that.
No, the answer is that I sat in my car for 15 minutes waiting for the defroster to do the job for me.
I just drove with the ice over my windshield today.
There was one time where we were leaving for a field trip, for the trip to Boston, I'm pretty sure, in 9th grade, or not 9th grade, 11th grade. Mm-hmm. And we had to like be at the school, like either it was late at night or early in the morning or whatever. And I was late, and like there was ice on my windshield. And for whatever reason, my windshield sprayers weren't working, and I didn't realize there was ice on my windshield. So I just like drove to the school with my head out the window, like doing this weird cockeye thing the whole way to school.
Right, yeah, I did that plenty of times. I remember pretty much all throughout high school, I would leave my trumpet in my car, and my valves would freeze, and we would go to jazz band at 7:30 in the morning, and I would just warm up in the car, like while I was driving, and that way my valves wouldn't be frozen, and Q wouldn't know that I was totally unprepared as I walked in 10 minutes late.
I think he probably knew.
I would walk in with the instrument already out, so I think he knew.
Yeah. Tyler, you clearly have not practiced.
You know, I mean, these things do happen.
Yeah, they do. So Miracle.
Real quick before we get to Miracle. I just want to let you know, I just watched the trailer for the original Air Bud.
Was it bad?
It's an utterly convincing film.
Really? I haven't seen it in a long time.
I know that, like in one scene, the golden retriever is wearing like basketball shoes and a jersey, and the next scene, buck naked. And I don't know what the rules are on the court. I know that
I can see there's a great picture of the kid and the dog here on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, where the dog has 4 sneakers on.
Right.
And a jersey.
And then in the next scene, just nothing. But I know that I'm not listening to it because obviously I'm talking to you. But I know that in the trailer or in the movie, the ref says, a dog can't play. And the coach is like, show me in that rule book where it says a dog can't play. And the ref's like, son of a gun. Like,
just imagine it being the kid that got benched for a golden retriever. Like in rec league basketball that has cheerleaders. Imagine being that kid.
That kid's parent. Oh my gosh.
I identify with the parent in Remember the Titans at that point where he's just like, he's taking Alan out. Yo! Like, he took my son out for a dog?
He's just getting beat like he stole something.
Oh man. So Kurt Russell has never been one of my favorite actors.
Is that true?
Yeah, I'm not like, he's a 50-50 kind of guy. Like, he does some good movies, but he also does some real duds.
Not the best. Actually, let me be honest here, because this is Bacon and Eggs and Movie Lovers podcast, with new episodes every Thursday, available wherever you get your podcast and now on Spotify. Here's the truth about Kurt Russell, as far as his podcast is concerned, is he played Ego, and Ego was a good villain.
I hated Ego. I maintain this.
Oh, I just disagree.
He was a bad villain.
I liked Ego.
I did not.
Better than Dormammu.
Okay.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Isn't Dormammu just evil?
Yeah.
Like he's like just pure, like not, oh, his motives are pure evil, but he is like made of evil.
He's like from the dark dimension, I think.
Whatever. That whole movie was a little bit what?
Right. He was like, oh, this wasn't bad, but I don't think he's gonna beat Thanos.
Like, you watch the end of Doctor Strange, you're like, I don't get it.
I know that, here's what I know about Doctor Strange, is that Thanos, no, what's the villain in Doctor Strange? Caecilius?
Yeah.
I'm not sold at all. I don't like the actor, I don't like the portrayal, I don't like the eye makeup, I don't like the motivations.
Hold on here. We do not disparage Mads Mikkelsen in this household.
I would not have been able to tell you that name.
I would.
Obviously, you just did.
Anyway, Kurt Russell does a very, very good job as Herb Brooks.
Yeah, this was an amazing portrayal.
I believe him as Herb Brooks.
He's got the accent down.
He does.
I don't know if it's supposed to be the accent.
The accents, like, there's a lot of really strong accents. And, like, for the most part, people don't sound like that. Like, even you meet real human beings from Boston, and they're not like, yeah, I'm Jack O'Callahan from Boston University.
Who do you play for? Boston University.
Boston University. Jack O'Callahan. Like, you watch Good Will Hunting with Matt Damon, and you're like, Matt Damon, stop.
It's Ben Affleck who's got it really bad in that movie because he keeps talking.
Yeah. Do you like apples? Well, I got a number. How about them apples?
But the accents are so good. They're very real. I want to say something about sports movies that this movie does really well. You get Al Michaels through and he hits the puck around the curve, blah, blah, blah. How do they shoot that so well?
Lots of takes.
You think?
They shot 280 miles of film for this movie.
Really?
That is more than any other Disney movie ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? What that means? What that looks like? What kind of work that means?
That just means a lot of takes. Like the scene with them doing the skate suicides after the game. Mm-hmm. It took like 4 days of 12-hour days of shooting.
I bet those dudes were tired.
Yeah, they were. They picked the kids based on their ability to be like endurance skaters and not based on their ability to act.
A lot of them could act.
Yeah, they did
I
pretty,
thought the
they did
acting
pretty
was
good.
Fine. I will say, this is important to note about this film. It's not about the kids at all. And that's actually, I think, its only weak point, is that this movie is Kurt Russell and a bunch of other people.
I was going to make that point, is like, when he cuts Ralph Coxey, I'm just like, oh, that's that guy with the mustache.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
I don't know anything about this guy.
You're not one of the Coneheads. You're not OC. I don't care. You're not Jimmy
couldn't
Craig.
tell you what the Coneheads look like. Jimmy Craig. I like Jimmy
You're
Craig.
not supposed to
He
be
had
able
an
to tell you.
interesting story arc.
You're not supposed to be able to tell what the Coneheads look like. There's 3 of them. They're like 3 indistinct white dudes, and that's their point.
Right.
It's like Baker, Schneider, and somebody else. Not Rizzo, not OC, not Jimmy Craig.
Exactly. And Jimmy Craig.
Not McClanahan.
Jimmy Craig is the only one of the players that has any sort of an interesting story arc.
Well, and this was going to be my next point when you start talking about the accents, is like they played up some Boston University versus University of Minnesota 1976 playoff rivalry, but just like didn't explain it.
Right. They didn't show like
O'Callahan doesn't like Rizzo and they're just like 76. I was like, what?
What does that mean?
I had to like look it up.
What happened?
I was just Boston University beat Minnesota beat one of them. I don't even remember who. One of them beat each other in the championship in 76. And they hate each other because they all played each other.
Who do you play for?
United States of America.
That's dang right.
It didn't happen.
I thought them saying that.
Yeah, no, that didn't happen. Apparently, the players just threw a temper tantrum and he gave up.
Really?
Yeah.
Was he trying to get him to say that?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't think he like elaborated on that. But like in real life, that did not happen. The whole scene did, but like Rizzo saying, I play for United States of America is not real.
It's not Rizzo that says it, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Huh.
Marco Ruzzioni. That's why he's captain.
Oh, I'm learning so much.
There's some stuff
so
you gotta like,
that
was the thing. Is like there's stuff you gotta follow, and I've seen this movie probably 10 times now. There's stuff you gotta follow that isn't as well elaborated as it could have been, and is done better in some sports movies. And I would say that is the weakness, because like in Remember the Titans, you care about the kids.
Yeah, and Remember the Titans, it's almost more about Bertier and Julius.
It's absolutely about Bertier and Julius
than it is about Yost and
well, they're
Denzel's character. What is
counterparts. Herb Brooks and Bill Yost.
Not Herb Brooks.
Herb Brooks. That's this movie.
I know.
Why can I not? I just watched this movie.
I know you did. Why is this killing me? Maybe that's the whole thing, is that you don't remember it. No, Herman Boone.
Herman Boone. Oh, well, it's the same letters.
Yeah. It's like the same name, really.
And there is a Herb in Remember the Titans. Yost's assistant coach, Coach Tyrell, is Herb.
Yes.
But yeah, they're like, Gary and Julius have to learn to love each other so that Yost and Boone can learn to love each other.
Right.
But yeah, they don't do a good enough job of focusing on the kids in Miracle. It is like about Herb and Herb getting snubbed for the 1960 Olympic team and not getting to win the gold medal, and then playing in 64 and 68 and getting blown out. That's the whole thing.
Right.
It's like Brooks has something to prove. And they said that's why he brings in the kid from Minnesota, like Timmy Harrer, the ringer.
And it's supposed to be like, hey, this is the guy. This is the guy, right? No, this is not the guy.
No, because they're family.
We're a family, coach. We're family.
There are some big deal, like powerful moments in this movie. Like when Rizzo does I play for the United States of America. Like when he breaks down on the blue line, it's just like, Mike Ruzzioni, wherever the heck he's from, I play for the United States of America. I'm just like, okay, I get
that
it.
gets me good. But I'll say though, we're a family, coach. That's
a good
not
one.
Land with me. No, that to me was like, oh,
really?
Okay, neat.
Oh man, they love each other.
Yay, you're all buddies. You already had this scene. Why are we doing this again?
But yeah, Jimmy Craig has the arc.
Yeah, where it's like his mother died, and now he's got to be the guy. His mother wanted him to play at this team, even though Atlanta's trying to sign him.
What is that accent?
I don't know. That's what they all sounded like.
Well, half of them are from Boston and half of them are from the upper Midwest.
Yeah.
But yeah, Atlanta's trying to sign him,
like.
and he turns down the signing bonus or whatever to go play for United States of America, and he gets the job over Janasak, which is important.
They didn't seem important.
Yeah, it did, because Janasak was Herb's guy in Minnesota.
Right. There's a lot of like almost prequel necessary history. Do you know what I'm saying? Like understanding, it does it a little bit, but understanding how close the guys who played for him for 4 years would be with him, as opposed to the Boston
And with
guys
each other.
and with each other. And like how much the Boston guys must absolutely hate this dude.
Yeah, because he beat him for 3 straight years.
Right. Like, this would be like, this probably wouldn't make any sense to anybody else, but this would be like if North Carolina was like, we've decided we're going to play Virginia in a college football game, and you are going to pick the best players from your 2 best college football teams and the best coach you have. Like, the UVA kids would just hate the Tech kids.
Yeah.
Like, period.
Absolutely.
And same in North Carolina. Like, the Duke and UNC,
Yeah.
they would not get along.
That'd be a basketball thing, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, would those be their best football teams, too? Eastern Carolina, maybe?
No, ECU is terrible. It'd be them or State.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You can go to South Carolina, USC, and
Clemson.
Yeah. Clemson's really good.
Clemson's really good. Clemson's the only good team in the AFC.
Clemson would steamroll
Yeah, Clemson's the only
the
good
Virginia
team in the ACC.
All-Stars team.
The ACC is a basketball conference now. Even Tech, the other day, was like ranked number 15.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's all about basketball now. And that's what matters.
Yep, it's all about basketball now. That's the ACC. Tech football's dead. Long live.
I know. We'll be back. Don't worry.
It's always next year.
There is always definitely not this year.
No, go to the Military Bowl.
Hey, it's a bowl game.
It's a bowl game, which is really the NCAA being like, we can't not put Virginia Tech in a bowl.
They travel well.
Because they do have the longest bowl active streak.
Can you imagine being like the last Clemson team to not go to a bowl?
Yeah, I think it was like 5 years ago.
That's embarrassing.
Clemson wasn't good before Dabo Swinney showed up.
Is that who it is? Is that why they're so good?
This is the coach, yeah.
Is that where all these quote-unquote fans came from?
Clemson's always had this weird fan base here in VA.
So have a lot of teams. You know, there's a bunch of fans in Virginia. It's
San
the San
Francisco
Francisco
49ers.
49ers. What is that about?
I have no idea.
Especially out in the Hampton Roads where we used to live.
The 49ers.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
Even if nothing had ever happened with Colin Kaepernick, I would still hate Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't
because
like
of the
them before
2012 NFC Championship.
because he beat.
Yeah, because he beat Green Bay at the year after Green Bay won the Super Bowl to go to the Super Bowl with the Ravens and lose to the Ravens.
Hey, and that brings it all back around. Michael Orr has a Super Bowl ring.
Yep. So one thing I do think this movie did exceptionally well is this movie made the last 10 minutes of the game interesting.
Yes.
Because Rizzo
After
scores
they
that
scored
goal.
that final goal.
Rizzo scores that goal to go ahead 4-3 or 3-4, 3-2 or whatever with 10 minutes left in the third period.
Right. Like the interesting part of the game is
over. It's just like Jimmy Craig shot, block, shot, block, shot, block, shot, block, shot, block.
You know what it really reminded me of?
That World Cup game with Tim Howard?
The World Cup game with Tim Howard. I was thinking about, man, they are going to make a movie about that.
If we'd
United States men's
won
national team.
that game.
I think even the fact that we didn't win. There is a Keegan-Michael Key movie as Tim Howard yet to come.
I would agree with that.
Because that team, like, America's not supposed to do that well in the World Cup. And there was already a first movie made about the first time we won the Women's World Cup. Air Bud 4, the World Pup.
No, if there's like a modern era sporting event, they're going to make a movie out of it. It's going to be that USA-Canada Olympic hockey game where Sidney Crosby beat us.
Didn't he play for an American team?
He plays for the Steelers, the Penguins. Yeah.
No,
Canada's going to go make a movie
It's going to be about
that.
Ovi. The cup comes back. Not back. The cup comes to Washington for the first time.
I don't think they just generally don't make.
No, they're not. Let me tell you what they're going to make a movie about. Nick Foles won the Super Bowl against Tom. There are no rules, Ethan. That's the story. Yeah. That's the name of the movie. There are no rules.
Nick Foles. There's some actor that looks like Nick Foles. Or Nick
Foles caught a touchdown pass and beat the Patriots.
Yeah. Well, the Eagles already have a movie.
They get another.
They already have a movie. They didn't even win. They have a movie.
Wait, what movie is about the Eagles?
Invincible.
Yeah, you know what movie they don't win any games in? Marshall. We Are Marshall.
Yeah, they got Mark Wahlberg. They got Marky Mark playing Vince Papali.
What the truth
trying
is,
to pull
Ethan.
off a Philly accent and still just sounding like he's from Boston. And Elizabeth Banks is a Giants fan. Great movie. Invincible. About Vince Papali, the walk-on. The Eagles had Silver Linings Playbook. The Eagles are done with movies.
Eagles are not done with movies.
Done. I do not want to see an Eagles movie.
I'm a Redskins fan, Ethan. The Washington Redskins. You know what they're going to make a movie about is the year the Redskins literally died.
No, I'll tell you what they're going to make a movie about. Currently, Green Bay is trying to hire Brett Favre to be the head coach.
Really?
Next year, when Brett Favre, head coach, leads Aaron Rodgers to a Super Bowl, They're gonna make a movie about that.
I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know what to tell you.
It is.
Do you think he'll take the job?
I'm sure he would. Green
he
Bay,
hasn't
here's
yet.
how you fix the Green Bay Packers. Here's how you fix the Green Bay Packers. You hire somebody that's like, hey, we have a really good quarterback. Let's get him someone to throw to. And maybe also an offensive line that isn't going to die.
I would more focus on the O-line, because if you have a great quarterback, Tom Brady, you could put a sack of potatoes in the receiver position and it wouldn't
He
even
had
matter.
Randy Moss.
Okay, in
had
2007
Deion
for one
Branch.
season. Oh my gosh, he has Julian Edelman. Ethan.
Julian Edelman's a better receiver than Devontae Adams, and Devontae Adams is like the star receiver in Green Bay.
Ethan, Julian Edelman's a quarterback.
Yeah, he's a better receiver than Devontae Adams. He catches more passes.
That's because he's got a good quarterback. That's why.
No. I could catch the passes Aaron Rodgers throwing in the end zone to Devontae Adams when he's wide open and he's just like, no.
Do you know what I never understood is sports fans love Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
Because he makes all these amazing catches.
Yeah.
But if that dude played on a team with an accurate quarterback, he'd just be a normal receiver.
Yeah,
Like,
he'd
just
still
catch
be
the
good.
ball. He'd still be good. No, he'd still definitely be good. He can go to any team in the league and be the top
Yeah,
receiver.
you put him on the Saints.
Right. Like, he'd be amazing.
Man, I was so excited for Dez Bryant on the Saints.
Did that happen?
Yeah, he signed and then tore his Achilles 3 days later in practice.
Nice.
Which, by the way, Dez Bryant, Green Bay, what the actual heck are you doing? Mike McCarthy was sitting around in Green Bay, and this is why he lost his job, I'm telling you. He was sitting there in Green Bay going, man, Dez Bryant's on the market. That'd be nice to have that guy. How much cap space do we have? $45 million? Nah, don't go for him.
You know who they didn't go for?
Tremont Williams. Let's sign Tremont Williams back for $45 and a laundromat token.
You know they didn't sign who they should have signed.
Adrian
Peterson.
Peterson.
If Amari Cooper was available for trade, I know, seriously, Adrian Peterson. That's what they do. That would be like the slap in the face. You took Brett
Adrian
Favre.
Peterson.
We took
was
Adrian
available.
Peterson.
Dez Bryant was available for 7 games into the season. Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
You call the Steelers. You're like, hey, we'll give you $30 million for Le'Veon Bell, and they're like, done.
Take
Bye.
him. Is he still not playing? What's happened? There?
He's on the bench.
Why?
Because they don't need him.
They don't need him. That dude they've got is good.
Yeah, they're also terrible. I think they're like out.
Are they? Everybody's out.
I'm pretty sure.
It's the
Man.
Who's the Patrick Mahomes team?
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs, if they don't win the Super Bowl, I don't want to watch.
Yeah, I want to watch Chiefs Rams.
Yeah,
I want to watch
that's
Patrick
all I
Mahomes
care
and Jared Goff. That's all I care about right now.
Yeah,
Patrick
all the
Mahomes
rest of the
is the
teams.
real deal. Do you
That
see the
dude
Patrick?
is.
You see the Patrick Mahomes do the actual like they always talk about quarterbacks who can do like a no look. Patrick Mahomes is staring on like at a fan on the other 50. Throws a perfect like wanted level curved bullet pass. Over some dude's head into this guy's arms. I was like, that is the single greatest pass I've ever seen in my life.
Patrick Mahomes is the real deal, like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. When the Chiefs signed him, I was like, who?
Didn't my father-in-law say he believes in Patrick Mahomes?
Probably.
Who was the other?
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold's the real deal. Who's the other real deal? The Browns guy.
Oh, Baker.
Baker Mayfield. That
Mayfield.
dude's the real deal.
Give him 2 years.
If he stays there and they get a worthwhile head coach, and it sounds like they've got one in their interim head coach.
Give him 2 years. He's got Jarvis Landry. He's got Joe Thomas, the offensive line. Get him like a halfway decent running back.
And they've got draft picks for O-line.
Yeah, they've got draft picks for Miles.
Right.
Anyway, Miracle. What do you know about hockey? How much do you know about hockey?
I know. Here's my experience with hockey. I have zero interest in hockey stats, hockey win percentages, hockey players, really hockey teams. I think I'm a Caps fan because I like Washington sports and because we got the Stanley Cup. Yeah, I don't want to brag, but it's in Washington, baby. But I'm not a hockey league fan, NHL fan, college hockey fan, any of it.
I'll tell you, I was very briefly into hockey, into professional hockey, like big time. It was 2010, the winter 2000. Sorry, senior year of high school, right?
Yeah, going into our last semester.
I had decided to watch like a lot of Boston Bruins hockey because that was the team I decided to support. And like for Christmas, my mom got me the like NHL Center Ice package for like the second half of the season.
Yeah.
So I watched hockey all of the time because it was always on.
Right.
I had like 9 hockey channels.
Right.
So I got big into hockey right then. And then like I watched it the next year and I watched it the next year and then like went to college and I was like, I don't have time for this.
In college, we didn't have time for sports that weren't football.
Right. And I would always watch the NBA and the NHL playoffs because it happened like right when we got home from school.
Right.
So I was like, oh yeah, because Boston was good the next year after they won the Cup in 2011 and they lost to the Blackhawks in like a Game 6 quintuple overtime game. I remember staying up to like 2:30 in the morning watching this game.
Now, here's the important distinction with hockey that I think matters. I will pay, we have minor league teams in Roanoke, just for people to be aware.
Yeah.
I will pay probably $5 5 times as much to go see hockey played live than I will baseball. And those are the 2 options we have in town. I think live hockey is the pinnacle of sports entertainment.
It's a lot of fun.
There is nothing that comes.
I really want to go to a Caps game.
Basketball, it's better than football. It's better than baseball. Like, because baseball, you've got you're getting a wiener dog at the park.
It's like an experience.
Beer. And like baseball's got its own experience, and they're playing the games between innings. Most of the time, when I go to a baseball game, I don't even know the score.
Right, like I love going to Salem Red Sox games because, you go to 1 or 2 a year. It's free to park. It's like $7 to get in.
Right.
They play every night. There's 140 games, so there's 70 home games. It's during the summer. It's beautiful out because it's like at night during the summer.
But my level of sports entertainment, like entertained by the sport being played.
Yeah.
It's like a 2 out of 10.
I don't know. I did go to one game, a Red Sox game that was like 12 innings, like 13-14.
Okay, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was like back and forth. Like they would score, then we would score, then they would score, then we would score, then they would score, then we would score. It just kept going. And it wasn't like, oh, somebody finally scored in the 15th inning. They haven't scored in 7 innings. It was like the away team would score in the top, and then Salem would come back and tie it. And then the away team would score in the top, and then the Salem would come back and tie it. So that was a lot of fun.
Right.
But yeah, like I want to go to an NHL. I've never been to an NHL game.
I've never been to an NHL game, but I've been to college hockey games. I've been to our local team
I haven't
games.
been to a Rail Yard Dogs game yet.
You haven't been to a Dogs game?
No.
If we ever get an afternoon or an evening free, we should go.
They don't play that
because
often. They're like a weekend team.
They're a weekend team. They play Friday and Saturday, I think.
Yeah, but not every Friday and Saturday.
Right, like every other Friday and Saturday, because they have away games.
Right, but it's not like we can just go on a Tuesday.
Right, but you pay $20, you get front row seats, and you watch like real. Here's the thing about hockey, and this is why I like hockey over basketball. I think basketball has been perfected. Like the best strategies, the best plays, all of that have been figured out, and it's who's going to perform them better.
I mean, the game changes every 3 or 4 years, but yeah.
Yeah, but like hockey, you can only be so good at because it's on ice skates.
Yeah, and it's a lot of action. It's a lot of like throwing people into the glass and
yes,
all that jazz. It's a fun game. Hockey's a fun game.
Hockey is a fun game. I like it. I feel like we have not talked much about Miracle the movie.
So let's talk about Miracle the movie. How do you feel this ranks as not like a sports movie, but just like a movie? Like how does it stack up?
I think it does pretty well because of what we were talking about earlier. Is when I watch it, I think to myself, even though it's something as simple as like a sports thing, I think I'm convinced by the quality of the athletes. I'm always impressed by that with sports movies, how they're able to take what are actors or stunt doubles and turn them into convincing professional athletes. To me, that's always like a how on earth did they do that kind of moment? Because a lot of these guys, if they were as good as hockey at hockey as they were portraying on screen,
yeah,
they would just play hockey, you know?
Yeah.
You know, even the stunt guys. It's like, why are you a stunt double? You could be a professional hockey player.
I feel that.
So I think that like this movie constantly over and over again on the action pieces had me asking like, how did they even do that? You know, like and the acting is so well done. And maybe this is just me giving into sports really well, but like they'll get out there on the ice against the Russian team and I'll be like, they hate those Russian guys. Even though I know once they say cut, they're all speaking English to each other. It's not actually like a Russian national team.
Right.
It's just a bunch of stunt doubles.
It's not like actually, like Vladislav Tretiak is actually out there.
Right. It's just a bunch of big white guys.
Yeah.
So I think that is really impressive to me, how they're able to convince me so well on all of that.
Yeah, and there's like, to me, even in the movie, I'm like, there's no way they would beat this Soviet team after getting blown out by them 12 days ago, 10-3. But then I'm like, wait a minute, that happened though. Like
that did happen. Right. Like there's no drama in that. That's a real story.
And that's wild.
It is wild. And it does fall short in some places though, Ethan. I'll be honest with you. I don't feel like I know about any of the characters except Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I know about Herb. I know about his motivations.
I know him all the way down.
I know that he misses his family, even if he doesn't say it. I know that he's like sad that his kid is doing stuff when he's not there because he's in Madison Square Garden getting his butt kicked.
Right.
But yeah, there's some spots where it falls short. There's some spots where it's not as convincing as some other movies. And you always have that with these like based on a true story movies.
Right.
It's always the case because they're just like, there's some level of like, well, you know the story.
Right. And there's a lot of these 80s Cold War-esque sports movies, and maybe this is just my experience, but I feel like when we got good at filmmaking, we started to be able to tell the stories of like the 60s to the 80s in sports, like exceptional stories from that time. And there's always a conflict in the middle of it that doesn't quite make sense to me. I mean, like, it doesn't make sense if you were to have written the story. Like, it can only happen because it's based on a true story, where it's like, all of a sudden, the Russians might just not play at all because we're not going to Moscow, so they're not coming to Lake Placid.
Right.
You know, it's like, what? Well, there's a whole wrench in the system, but you can't leave that detail out, but it also does nothing for the narrative.
Right, but it happened.
Right,
Like,
but it did happen.
But I would say, like, this movie is a less effective Cold War era biographical drama than, like, October Sky.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like, I think that movie does a better job of selling me on the characters. And I'm not saying, because it's not a sports movie, it's a little bit different. But it's got, like...
Science movie, nerd movie.
Yeah, but it's got the same sort of problems where, like, it is about a person, like, it happened. Like, everything happened. And there's just, like, issues that happen in real life that don't happen in Disney movies.
That haven't happened in, like, thought-out narratives.
Like, the attack on Tehran in this movie that they ended up making Argo about. Like, that doesn't happen in Disney movies, but Disney's just kind of like, all right, well, that was a factor, sort of.
I mean, we'd be wrong to leave it out.
Yeah, I'd be wrong to leave it out, so we're just kind of like scooch around it.
Right. It happened. We'll take up a few minutes screen time. I will say 136 minutes is too many for this movie.
It's a long movie.
It's long. I was expecting 105 minutes.
It's a long movie. It is definitely like, under 2 hours is a necessary runtime for this movie.
There was another... Oh, this is more of not a critique of the film, more of the Olympic Committee. And Mom and Dad, I'm sorry I said this, but why Lake Placid?
What are you talking about?
Of all the places you could put
Winter
the
Olympics
Winter
places are always in places like that. They're in ski towns.
I know, but
like,
why not like Aspen?
I think it's been in Colorado.
Okay.
It was in Park City, Utah.
Why would you say Lake Placid? Why not like
What's near Lake
Burlington,
Placid?
Vermont? It's in upstate New York, near Vermont.
Yeah, but like what's near there? Like there's nothing up there.
Burlington.
Burlington's a tiny city.
Okay, it's bigger than Lake Placid.
They do that sometimes. That's been the recent trend. They were like, oh, that's the Vancouver Olympics, even though it took place in Whistler, like way outside of Vancouver.
That's nowhere near Vancouver. I mean, that's why I like the Brazil World Cup, because they were like, it's not.
And I think that the Lake Placid Olympics were called Lake Placid Olympics because it just kind of happened all place up there.
Right. No, I can't imagine. Because you need a mount for the Winter Olympics.
Right. And that's the thing is like
you need multiple mountains.
Like Salt Lake City,
to go down.
Salt Lake City's hit the salt flats. Like obviously they did the big like arena events like the hockey and the ice skating there, but they did the snowboarding and the skiing up in Park City. Like that's the way it always is. It was the same in Pyeongchang, which is where this last one was, and then Beijing is going to be the next one, which is wild because Beijing hosted a Summer Olympics in very recent memory.
They had the water cube.
Yeah, they had the water cube.
That was a cool pool. That was the fastest pool ever built.
Yep.
Which is a weird sentence.
Yeah, because it had current, right?
Yeah. But the current only helped you in one direction.
Yeah, but it still like set records.
So what it did actually, I don't know the physics of it. So if you're listening to me and you're like, that's not how it worked, Tyler. My understanding is that the current blew up, not in a direction. So it was in the bottom and it blew up, and it sort of, you could work that to your advantage, but it could also work against you, I suppose. But I don't know. I didn't design it. I wasn't there, but I was swimming at that time, and I was swimming with people
also,
who were
Burlington,
swimming with
Vermont
those
is on Lake Champlain.
Yes.
Not Lake Placid.
I'm aware.
Okay, but like Lake Placid isn't near Burlington.
I mean, it's closer than we are.
Okay, lots of things are closer than we are.
I would have called them the Green Mountain Games, and I would have put them in Vermont.
They didn't.
You can even have them at Lake Placid. It's close enough.
Yeah, but they put it in Lake Placid. Back then, the Winter Olympics were always in a place like that.
Well.
Now we've moved them to like large cities because turns out cities already have most of the infrastructure you need for the Olympics.
Right.
Except for Beijing.
I think people travel to these cities a lot more now than they did then.
The Winter Olympics is a much bigger deal now than it was then.
Yeah, because that arena they were in for the finals was like as big as the Roanoke, the Berglund Center.
Yeah.
But it was loud, boy.
Yeah, definitely.
What you reading about?
Oh, I was just I was seeing where the other Winter Olympics were and how we got on off years because apparently there was also a Summer Olympics in 1980.
Yes, there was. That was who.
It was Moscow. We didn't go.
Right.
But I don't know when the Winter Olympics moved to different years.
It was recently.
It was not within our lifetime.
Well, then it was in the 80s, because it would have been 84, 88, 92, which was my lifetime.
Yeah. So the Winter Olympics moved to 94, looks like. In 1992, they moved it to 94.
Yes. And then my dad ran the Olympic torch in 96 and in 2000. No, 2002?
Salt Lake City was 2002, yeah.
Yeah.
96 was Atlanta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to get back on this Olympics grind.
talking about the
Bring them
Olympics.
back to the States.
We tried to get Chicago for the next one, next summer.
It's going to like Dubai or whatever. No, it's going somewhere that can't afford it, right? Like Djibouti or something.
No, that was the World Cup.
That's what
they
it
were
is.
bringing it to Qatar.
And Qatar couldn't afford it. Not like anybody can afford it per se.
Where was the World Cup just now? Russia?
Sure.
I think.
I did not watch, Ethan.
We watched the game.
We watched one
I just
game.
didn't care because the U.S. wasn't in it.
The U.S. wasn't in it, and it wasn't coming home.
And it was like a weird time schedule for us to watch.
Yes, I would much rather it be in like Eastern Standard Time and for the U.S. to be in it.
Where are the next Olympics? This should not be hard information to find. Pyeongchang 2018, that's the one that just happened.
To 2020.
Tokyo 2020. Okay, here's where it is. Tokyo 2020, Beijing 2022, okay? Paris 2024, and then Los Angeles 2028.
There we go.
It's coming home.
What about 26?
I don't think they've decided yet.
Calgary?
This is olympic.org. It does not say. I don't think they've decided yet.
Okay, yeah. This telegraph.co.uk, at least in February, wrote an article. And Salt Lake City is putting their 2 hours ago, Park City, Salt Lake City seen as 2026 contingency.
Hey, look at that. I am much more interested in the Winter Olympics than the Summer Olympics.
Are you really?
I am, definitely.
You are the only one.
No, I'm not. People love the Winter Olympics because the Winter Olympics is so wild, man. It's like you get to watch snowboarding. There's Shaun White. Like, it's all that kind of stuff. They're crazy sports. It's like track and field's cool, but like I don't care about watching track and field. Like
There's soccer in the Summer Olympics. And
there's
cycling.
not. Soccer in the Olympics sucks.
Yeah, but it's there.
Right, but it's like you get all under 21 players and you get 3 players over 21 or whatever.
Is that how it works?
It's real dumb. It's got really dumb rules.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
It's not like real soccer. This is what the World Cup's for. They do it that way to not compete with the World Cup.
They should want to compete with the World Cup.
No, the World Cup, like FIFA does it that way.
Oh, I see.
They like only allow certain stuff, I think. I can't remember the exact story. Yeah, the Winter Olympics are rad, man. I watched so much Winter Olympics this year. I mean, I love the Summer Olympics too. Rogers and Dahlhauser playing beach volleyball. Misty May Trainer and Carrie Walsh playing, again, beach volleyball, cycling, Thor Hushoft.
I'm a big fan
Mark
of
Cavendish.
You know what I'm a big fan of in the Winter Olympics?
What?
Curling.
Curling is rad. I was watching curling the other day.
Yeah, you were watching curling during a non-Winter Olympics time, which is like a...
It's on. Like, I have YouTube TV now, so we just get the Olympic channel, and it just has winter sports on right now. Like, I watched curling, and then I watched cross-country skiing, and then I watched snowboarding. It was like the Olympics, but it was all different competitions.
Very weird. You know what the Winter Olympics has? Is the shooting. The
Biathlon?
What's
the ski shooting?
biathlon with skis and shooting.
What a wild sport.
Who thought of this?
The Norwegians. Or the Norse.
What
Scandinavians.
Listen, our Scandinavian listeners. Growing up, were you like, yeah, pairing shooting with cross-country skiing? What do you mean that's
I'm
weird?
sure one of our listeners, and you know who I'm talking about, could go out and compete in a biathlon like tomorrow. Our Swedish
you mean
person.
has the gear or...
Just like is capable.
I can think of more than one listener.
More than one?
Yeah, I know of at least a Norwegian and a Swede.
I don't know if that's Matt's thing.
Mats, love you, bud.
I love you too. But Johanna is in the gym every day.
Do you have the equipment necessary to compete in a biathlon that's cross-country skiing and shooting to my American
They're
listeners?
both going to respond tomorrow and be like, how do you think we eat? We kill bears with our skis.
Right. We go out with our skis and kill bears. I don't know. What kind of ridiculous question is this? And that reminds me, Ethan, this episode airs on Thursday. Today's Tuesday.
Thursdog.
Thursdog.
Nope.
Thursdog.
Thursday for our Norse listeners.
For our Norse listeners. Now, to our American listeners, specifically in the American Southeast, if you're listening to this early, Ethan is performing a show in Raleigh tonight.
In Raleigh. Yes, I am.
In Raleigh. His band Drop the Girl, performs at 6:55 p.m.
In Garner.
Prima Makte.
In Garner.
What is the address of this location?
It's the Kaboom Art Gallery.
The Kaboom Art Gallery.
Kaboom spelled the usual way.
Kaboom spelled the usual way. The O's, not zeros. 6:55 p.m. at Bango Live. But the music festival starts at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Or the shows in general.
Yeah. It's called a Festivus.
Festivus.
That's what we're calling it.
Festivus for the rest
That's what
of
we're
us.
calling it. It's the winter.
How much?
FBT Winter Festivus.
How much does it cost?
I do not know. Hang on.
Here's what I know, folks. It is not family friendly, but Ethan and I will both be there. But we will not be available. But we will both be there.
I'll be available.
What?
What do you mean?
Don't you have to sell merch?
Yeah, sort of. Cam mostly sells the merch. He works at Zoomies. He does retail, like shirt retail, which means that if we touch the shirts, he gets mad at us because we don't know how to fold the shirts.
I don't know how to fold the shirts.
I learned real quick how to fold the freaking shirts when I worked for a huge music festival for that one day. Real quick, how to work the shirts.
They ask you to fold the shirts?
No, you have to like bloom the shirts out of the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to do that.
Oh, okay.
It is $10 or $5 with a toy or 3 canned goods.
3 canned goods, folks. Ethan's playing a show at the Kaboom Kaboom Art Gallery.
It's 139
Festivus.
West Main Street, Garner, North Carolina. You go over some train tracks and you take your first right, like immediately. You're gonna feel like you're driving onto the train tracks, but you're not. You're driving on the frontage road next to the train tracks, which is Main Street, and it's like there's like 8 buildings.
Anyway, we'll be there.
We will be there. You don't have to get there at 1 o'clock, Tyler.
I will not be there
Yeah.
at 1 o'clock. I will be busy until about like 2:30.
Then that's when you should probably leave.
Yeah. Do you think I'm cutting it close?
I mean, you'd be there at 5:30?
Yeah, so that's like an hour and a half early.
Yeah.
So that's not cutting it close.
No,
Okay.
I think you'd be fine.
All right. Well, anyway. Miracle. Hockey movies.
Movie's dope.
I love sports, Ethan.
Sports are important, okay?
Sports are important. I think sports are overall a good thing.
Even people who don't like sports in our Discord like this movie.
Even people who don't like sports are wrong.
I'm just saying, I'm defending the movie.
Why is the movie important? Give me some raw content for those people out there who say like we describe ourselves as film critics, even though we don't.
This movie is important because it, like I said earlier, it gives you a really good glimpse into what America was like during the Cold War, when our biggest enemy was like the Russians that we knew nothing about.
Yes.
And we didn't know what to do about it, and we didn't know anything. We just knew they were over there, and they had a hockey team, and we needed to beat that hockey team. And that's all that mattered. It was like a national coming together moment.
So they had the best hockey team in the world. And you know what? This movie,
They just put the best goaltender in the world on the bench.
he's got like the Da Bears.
Yeah.
You know what I really like about Miracle is I don't know the first thing about hockey, but because of this movie, I know what strategy the Russians were employing and what strategy we needed to match. And then watching the choreography of the sports parts, seeing it come together.
There's that one great montage where, like, it's scenes of the kids practicing intercut with scenes of Herb, like, writing on the glass in the silver marker. And he's, like,
Right.
drawing up a play. And it just keeps getting progressively more ridiculous to the end where he's just got, like, 15 arrows pointing to one spot. And he's like, and he goes in, boom, he goes in, boom, 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 boom. You got 15 different options.
Yeah, we're all about options.
All right, let's
You got
go.
options here.
And the kids are like, do you know what he's talking about? No.
But then later in the film,
They do it.
It rehashes that.
It works.
They have the options, and they also they do the writing on the board thing again, and they're all responding with, yeah, that means we got options. Boom, boom, boom.
Right. They gotta learn.
They
And
gotta learn.
it's
They
got
done
that
learn.
quintessential, and I was tweeting about this earlier, it's got that quintessential, like, moment where he's working them really hard, and the assistant coach is like, Herb, you're working them too hard. And he's like, you trust me. I know when that's too hard. I know when to work my kids. If we do this, we're gonna win.
And they
they
won.
win, and the assistant coach is just like, oh my God, they won. Maybe it wasn't too hard. They learned a lesson and came together as a team. And that
So
is
proud
that is
of them.
every, like, coach-based sports movie.
I love have you seen the meme that goes around every so often where it's like every Disney Channel original movie, like the dad telling the son, you're giving up on your dreams.
No,
And the
son.
son being like,
No,
no, dad, I'm giving up on yours.
Right. Because these movies have a formula, exactly. These coach-based movies. It's like, a coach is hired against all odds to coach team of people who have no business playing sports together, who are now playing sports together. It's like, you remember the Titans, you got the black dudes and the white dudes, and they're playing football together for the first time. And in this movie, you got kids from all over the country, really just the upper Midwest and Boston, which if you look at the, like, NCAA hockey is still the case. You have the upper Midwest and you have New England.
Yeah.
And teams from there play each other, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like the teams down here don't matter.
Club teams.
Yeah, they're not like real hockey teams, you know?
Yeah, no, like Virginia Tech played CNU one time while we were in high school.
What is that? Our little 5,000 student school? How dare you?
Yeah. All the teams all the schools in Virginia have like a club team. Like Liberty's the best. Yeah, there's always that, like, none of these kids should be playing together, but I'm gonna bring them together through hard work and determination. We're gonna work through this adversity, and we're gonna be closer than we were, and we're gonna be stronger and better. And it's super formulaic, but like it works as a formula.
It works
It
so well. It
sucks
gets
me
me
in.
every time. Sucks me right in. I'm always like, wow, I could have played
I
sports.
wonder if these kids are gonna come together as a team.
They
did.
did. Incredible.
They came
Incredible.
together as a team.
That we're a family, coach.
Wearing ourselves out for the team? What team?
What team?
There's the one, I keep coming back to Remember the Titans because that was the movie I watched right before we recorded this. There's a lot of parallels, but there's one scene in Remember the Titans where like I don't know if it was the script or if like the actor just lost track of things, but it's when Blue's yelling at everybody. He's like, "Y'all think we something? We ain't nothing. Y'all, you nothing. We nothing. I'm nothing. We ain't something. Y'all think we want something? Man, we ain't won nothing." I'm like,
we ain't won nothing, y'all.
What are you talking about? That was what this movie lacked, was like players coming at each other like that, having those disagreements. Right. It was all like a coach versus player dynamic.
Right. I feel like you see this a lot in business, or at least I do in most of the business I've been in, where it's like, or in school, group projects in high school are a good example of this, where at some point in college, I realized that the point of the group project was to work together, learn together, and work, like, because we're working together, do something better. And some of the people in my group had not quite figured that out yet. It was still just like, okay, we're going to split up responsibilities and turn something in, and that'll be it. And you get to that point where it's like, we can really make something good here. Like, we could turn this in, get this paper published, whatever, you know?
I will say I had one class where I worked effectively as a team, and that was Monica Hill's like fundamentals of business class.
Tell me about
and like
this
the
class.
Whole class, our one assignment all year was to do this like business proposition. So we had to do all the research. We had to like find space. We had to like create a pitch. We had to like essentially create a whole business without creating a business. We had to
without spending any money.
Figure out where we were getting funding, all that kind of stuff. And
where'd you get funding?
like banks, like business loans.
Okay, I was curious because I could use some funding.
Well, so our thing was. I can't remember what it's called. It might have been Cream and Sugar. But we were a like combination coffee frozen yogurt joint.
Oh, that's good. Cream and Sugar?
Yeah, that was my name.
Not Cream and Beans?
No, not Cream and Beans.
Yeah, I got a problem with frozen yogurt joints either.
I know you did. But it's like
heard.
we were gonna be like a proudly serves Caribou coffee like brand, like a white label
and
brand
Moose
for
Tracks.
Caribou. And so you can hedge against that as like a partial franchise. And business loans were acceptable because you had like an income stream based on the revenue of a successful company.
Right.
Stuff like that. So we had to figure all that out, but that would required like a lot of work as a team. Like one of our guys didn't hardly speak any English. So like it was wild, like, and we worked, we got together like once a week to like do 3 hours of group work every week all semester. And that was the only time I ever worked effectively on a group project.
I had a few that I worked effectively on, and I found that if I went into it and I said, okay, I'm going to be the leader here, and I'm going to practice what I preach, and we're going to effectively delegate tasks and effectively learn together so that, say it's Johnny's job to go figure out, in your situation, it's Johnny's job to go figure out where we're going to get funding. It's like, in the day of the presentation, everyone should be able to answer the question, how did we get funding? But Johnny went and figured it out.
Right, and that's how we worked, because that's how we had to work, because that's how we were graded. Like, we had to stand there as the 5 of us, and the class had to ask, like, we could ask any of us questions, and we all had to be able to answer the question.
Right.
And, like, it was a really effective group project, and that was, like, most of my work in college was solo. I didn't do a whole lot of group projects, just based on my classes. But, yeah, so I didn't learn a whole lot about teamwork from class in college or in high school.
No, I think what taught me teamwork pretty well, and this actually kind of got us in trouble, is we were big musicians, and in, like, jazz and everything, there's a lot of nonverbal communication that's effective.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, nonverbal communication in teamwork is great. Like, that's wonderful. But you also need to know how to do verbal communication.
Right. Like you need...
And I don't think I had that skill.
Yeah. Well, you live and you learn. But what this movie was lacking, legitimately, was conflict and resolution within the groups of the players. Like, they set up the conflict because, like, O'Callahan and Aruzioni don't like each other. Right. Because one of them played for Minnesota, and one of them played for Boston. And, like, what we needed was a scene of one of the Boston guys, like, beating up on Rizzo and O'Callahan coming and defending him. Right. That would have been the payoff to that scene. That would have, like, secured me on their relationship. And everybody... And if you want to play the family angle, I was just kind of like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was sort of how I felt about the family thing. I also felt like I didn't fall in love with the assistant coach.
Yeah?
I felt like he was a very memorable face. I couldn't tell you his name. I kept coming back to him, but there was a certain level of oomph I wasn't getting.
Okay. Well, what would you wanted there?
Well, you remember how Herb, the guy, remember the Titans, tells Yost, he's like, I don't want to coach any of these black players.
Yeah.
It was like a powerful scene where, like, the assistant coach is like, I disagree with the way that you're doing this.
Yeah, and that dude tried to do that, but it didn't work.
Right. He just didn't, I didn't get the, you're working them too hard thing. It's like, we're going to quell that rumor, not working them too hard.
His name is Noah Emmerich.
The actor?
Yeah.
No, he is discount Rappaport. What that dude
That's
is.
wild. He was it. Like, the movie I know him from is a movie where he's like Michael Rappaport's best friend. It's
Really?
called Beautiful Girls.
Huh.
Yeah. And like somebody
Dear.
cheats on somebody's husband, and Noah Emmerich like goes and knocks this dude out. Yeah, that's the reason I know that guy. Is that movie? And he's Truman's like neighbor or friend. or
Yeah,
something.
he's the friend.
Yeah.
He's the best friend in the Truman Show. You're right. He's the one that's like, oh, come on, Truman. Nothing's going on, man.
So it appeared that like this is the most recent thing he did. He was in Super 8, but I didn't see that.
You didn't see Super 8?
No.
Is that's the one with the kids,
I
right?
think so. I don't know. I didn't see it.
It's like Stranger Things before Stranger Things.
I guess. I don't know. I didn't see it.
Do you watch Stranger Things?
Yeah, I've watched Stranger Things.
Have you seen season 2?
Yeah.
I've not.
You haven't? You were sitting there talking today about how Stranger Things is the greatest TV show ever made.
Yeah, I stand by that decision.
You haven't seen the second season. You've only seen half of what's available.
I know. But I rewatched the first few episodes the other day, and I was like, we need to do a Dungeons and Dragons podcast today.
I'm down.
I'm also down, Ethan, but I do not have the time.
We gotta make time.
I can't listen. I'm trying. I can't coordinate the schedules of a dungeon master and 3 other people.
You can barely coordinate our schedule.
I know. I was looking at, dear listener, go to patreon.com/baconandeggs. You'll discover you can get an opportunity to watch movies with us or do Google Hangouts with us. We're scheduling Google Hangouts today, and I was looking at the rest of the month. There are 2 2-hour sections that I am available between now and January 1st. Like, 2.
Well,
In fact, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know how we're going to record the rest of these episodes for the rest of the month.
you're the ones hesitant to ever get ahead, ever. So,
Well, I don't like to get too far ahead. I like to stay with
yeah,
the
well, I would
books,
like to
you
be
know?
a week ahead. As I've been saying since we started Harry Potter.
Yeah, well, I'm okay with that idea.
Well, we gotta figure out some way to make these episodes because we do have a couple more episodes. What are we doing next week? Is next week
not our Christmas special?
Is it? I don't know.
Let me pull some info up for you, Yokes, and then we'll wrap up the show.
So we have 3 episodes left to record by the end of the year.
Yes, that sounds accurate.
We have the next week, the week after that, and a brunch.
Wait, why do we have a brunch?
Because we do a Christmas, like an episode on Christmas Day.
Oh, yeah, but it's not a movie episode.
No, it's a brunch. It's like we talk about Christmas.
Talking about Christmas, huh?
Yeah, we said annual last year, so.
We did say
What are we
annual.
doing next week? What are we doing the week after that?
The following week is, I think, unplanned.
That doesn't
I think
sound
next week is a Grinch special.
A Grinch Spectacular. Okay. The Bacon and Eggs Christmas Spectacular 2018. The 3
Yes.
Grinches.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Oh, exciting news, Ethan. So next week is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, all 3 versions. The following week is a listener's choice episode.
It is. All right.
So
I do
listeners,
that.
if you want to input what you'd like for us to listen to, please head over to our free Facebook group, or if you don't have
Here's
Facebook.
what's gonna happen. Right now, I'm gonna go make a post. As soon as we're done editing this, asking for suggestions, and that will be open for 1 week.
Yeah, because we do need to watch the movie and record the episode.
Right. So suggestions will be open for 1 week, and then we'll do like a 24-hour poll of the most suggested movies.
So that'll
Better
be happening
idea.
in our.
Okay. If the movie you want to do is already suggested, like it.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. There will be rules. This will have already happened by the time you're hearing this.
Yes. But here's the thing: is this is. Typically, we add some restraints. I don't want to add any film-based restriction. Now, I will not do Human Centipede.
Yeah.
Or really most horror options.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Just don't be mean.
We'll figure it out. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Listener's choice. And then, so we need to record a brunch and that. We have to record the brunch before Christmas Day.
Yes.
Preferably before Christmas Eve.
Oh, we could do that tomorrow.
We could, if you have time.
Well, what I'm doing between, I guess, like 10:15 and 2:30 is cleaning my house. But if we spend, 45 minutes on a brunch daily,
We'll talk.
Okay. We do need to wrap up the show.
Yep.
Da, 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 da.
We should probably make a list for this year because I'm starting to forget what we've got on it.
Yeah, you should definitely do that. Now,
Man, I do everything.
I can do that. That's fine. You just edit the show so you have it at the
I
end
know,
of
but I
the
do everything.
recording. You don't do everything.
I do pretty much everything at this point.
I manage the social media.
Sometimes.
That's true. We could do more. And I do the scheduling and all that. You're also more available than I am. I know that's not an excuse.
That's not an
but
excuse, though. I was like, every time a new job comes up, you're just like, so when are you doing that?
Well, if there's something you want me to do, feel free to delegate tasks.
Anyway, so we need to wrap this up. There will probably be a list if I don't forget.
Yes. So let's see. This movie's not better than any of the Toy Story films, Ethan.
No.
It is better than Crimes of Grindelwald.
Is there something in between those?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
So there we
Cool.
go. That's easy enough.
Who's the villain? The Soviets? Really
Yes.
bad villain. didn't do
I hate the
anything
Soviets.
worthwhile.
Yeah, they lost.
Yeah, in both hockey and life.
Yeah. I mean, the Soviets don't exist anymore.
Yeah, the wall was torn down.
Now,
Mr. Gorbachev,
breakfast
move
food.
that bus. Nope, wrong quote.
As far as a breakfast food goes, Ethan, there's spitting chiclets in this movie. What's the food associated?
What about spitting chiclets?
That's the name of a hockey podcast.
Is it?
Yeah, Barstool's hockey podcast.
Why?
'Cause you can see your teeth spitting chiclets.
What is the breakfast food associated with this movie?
I think maybe we visit this a lot, but when I think of these 80s films, and this one doesn't have it as much as like We Are Marshall does. I don't think that's an 80s film. I don't know when that happened. But I always
This
think
isn't
about
the 80s either.
You're right. This is late 70s, 1980.
Oh, yeah, this is 19. Yeah, but I thought you meant like an 80s movie. Like I was
No,
like,
this
this
was
is
made
2004. Yeah.
I always think about late night, early morning diner stops when I think about these type movies.
Yeah, but this is like American. But
Yeah,
this
no,
might
I
have
think
a
it's like
cause
an
for one
Apple-
of these like Denny's Grand Slam things.
No, Ethan. It's like a late night diner, like an apple pie.
Because it's heartwarming.
'Cause it's
like an apple
heartwarming,
pie,
it's
a la mode,
Ameri-
some rest stop
Right,
diner
it's
in
as
Iowa.
heartwarming, American as can be.
Got like some coal on it.
Some coal.
Yeah, it's like blue blood, hardworking Americans. It's like apple
Yeah.
pie on a Ford truck.
Yeah, that's what I think about.
I can get
But
behind
there's
that.
also, there's a certain level of Minnesotan to the whole film, So there's maybe like a wild rice type of thing or a
Maybe it's an apple pie pasty.
apple pie pasty, huh?
I don't know if that's a thing.
I thought pasty was the thing that burlesque women wear.
That is. It's a pasty. It's like a meat-filled turnover.
Oh God!
It's like a
those
Yuppie
Midwesterners, That's oh God, the Upper Peninsula, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, we're
Somewhere
in the mid.
Rachel
You're in the
Dickhausen
UP,
is
huh?
slamming her head into a wall.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're gonna get a
the
message
Mall
that's
of
like,
America.
no, pasties have to have meat in them.
The Mall of America actually is not in the Twin Cities, huh? It is, it's in Bloomington.
St. Paul is stupid.
St. Paul is not
Yes,
stupid.
it
St. Paul's the greatest
is.
city of all time.
You're
stupid.
No, it's not. It's one big city like every other place in America.
The Minneapolis is stupid.
No, it's not. Minneapolis is
St.
bigger.
Paul's the capital.
Then they should have just called the whole thing St. Paul, or they should have just called the whole thing Minneapolis.
That's what I'm saying. It should all be St. Paul.
Well, whatever. The smaller one is stupid for still existing.
But it's a cool city. There's a haberdashery and
But it should be one city.
big old cathedral.
One city.
You are a Catholic. You should love St. Paul.
I do love St. Paul, the person. I bear no particular love for St. Paul, the city.
Well, I lived in St. Paul, the city, and I liked it.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure it's a delightful place. I'm sure people from St. Paul are delightful. They should just be Minneapolisians.
No, they shouldn't.
Or then Minneapolis should be St. Paul. It should be one city. The Twin Cities is a dumb
they're-
thing.
They do that all over the Midwest, though. They did that where you used to live. But there's like
It was
in the Midwest,
stupid
there's the
there,
Quad
but
cities.
we are also a commonwealth.
Yes.
That matters.
But there's the Quad cities out in the Midwest.
What is the Quad cities?
And then I couldn't tell you what they all are. But then there's like
What is one of the
Kansas
Quad
City,
cities?
Couldn't tell you a single
Kansas
one.
City's one city.
Kansas City's one city, but it's in 2 states.
So is East St. Louis is a different city, but St. Louis is technically
then,
also in Indiana. Bristol's in Tennessee and Virginia.
yeah, that's stupid. And then
That's less
up
stupid
in,
than
up in-
Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Up in
That's one city. Bristol's one city,
but it's 2 different jurisdictions.
but it's one city.
I met a city councilman from Bristol, Virginia this week.
I met a man who lived in Tennessee, and he was headed for Pennsylvania and some homemade pumpkin pie.
Anyway, the movie's in apple pie. That's what I'm trying
Okay.
to say. You know.
And I don't care about the Mall of America. I'm sorry. I get that
It's
it's got a
in
roller coaster in
Bloomington.
it.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a Bloomington in every state in the Midwest.
No, is it? Yeah, it's Bloomington. Yeah, it's
There's a
just,
Bloomington,
but
Indiana. There's a Bloomington,
they
Illinois.
like to clarify that that's also where the airport is.
Okay.
And I've been to the Mall of
Okay,
America.
so here's the thing. Here's the
Let
thing.
me tell no. Let me tell you the most underwhelming experience of my life was the Mall of America. Have you ever been to the mall before?
Yeah.
That's what you can expect from the Mall
But it's
of
got a
America.
roller coaster.
No. Okay. Have you ever been to like an amusement park before?
Yeah.
That's what you can expect. Except instead of being awesome, it's tiny.
Anyway, Minnesotans, people from the Twin Cities act like it's weird that Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport is neither in Minneapolis or St. Paul. Most airports aren't in cities. It's kind of hard to find a room for airports in giant cities because airports at giant cities are usually giant.
Our airport is in our city.
We are a small city with a small airport.
Yes. All of the above.
Atlanta, huge city, huge airport. Atlanta Airport, not particularly in Atlanta. Dallas-Fort Worth Airport is neither in Dallas nor Fort Worth.
It's nowhere near either of them. I mean, it's closer to them than it is us. But like Dallas and Fort Worth aren't particularly close.
They're not particularly far apart either. Anyway, the fact the airport is not in Minneapolis, St. Paul is not weird. And like Minnesotans are the only ones weirded out about that.
Yeah. They don't seem to understand that that's pretty normal.
Right. I'm pretty sure JFK
What
is in
else
Queens.
That's New York.
Yeah, but it's not Manhattan.
So, still New York City.
It might be. It might be on Long Island. New York's complicated.
New York is complicated. The word boroughs is hard to spell.
I don't even know how New York geography works.
I don't either. I'm not convinced
It makes-
what the city is and what
It makes
isn't.
less sense than just the whole state of New York geography makes less sense than most places because like all of New York is part of like a town. Like
Yeah,
towns,
you are, like-
towns aren't places in New York. They're like counties but smaller.
Right, but the county is still there too.
Right, you have the county and the county's broken up entirely into towns.
Yeah, you are in the township of the county of the city of the
Right.
state.
Right.
It's very confusing. Of the country, of the planet.
Like my
of the
dad
solar
used to
system.
spend his summers in Copenhagen, New York, which is in the town of Denmark in, I think, Loudon County, Louville County. I don't remember what county. Anyway, there's a county and a town, but it's not like there's a village in a town in a county. But the town is like not like a place.
Yes.
Like there's no city center.
Right.
It's weird.
There's a post office.
Weird. New York is weird.
Anyway, do we have everything?
so.
Is that everything?
We did a villain ranking. We did a movie ranking. We did a breakfast food.
Yep.
You guys know how to find us. It's been like, I don't know, 70 episodes or whatever at this point.
So they probably don't know, actually.
Well, it's all in the description. We're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, both Tyler and I, and the podcast. And you can find links below to join the Patreon and join the Discord and join the Facebook group and buy merch.
You should buy the merch.
You should buy the merch. It's pretty rad. Anyway, I've been Ethan Edgehill, and he's been Tyler Carlin. And until next week, arrivederci.
All-star teams fail because they rely solely on the individual's talent.